What's up, everyone? Welcome to another one of CCA's interview, which is part of our outreach series. As you know, my name is Aaliyah. I am currently a CCA intern and attend St. Peter's University in Jersey City, New Jersey. This will be my third year as a bio major at St. Peter's. As I mentioned previously, that my goal is to become a craniofacial surgeon. I too have a facial difference that came with a long road of surgeries, therapies, and a lot of rehabilitation, but it never stopped me from achieving any of my goals. So I am joined today by Stephanie Heintz. Stephanie is an EVP of sales in the fashion industry for a fashion accessories company called Collection 18 in New York City. She is also a hit on TikTok where she advocates for cleft lip and palate. She also uses fitness to promote amazing fit gear, health and beauty tips, and exercises on TikTok as well, which I really love. So today we are going to learn more about Stephanie's journey on being an advocate as well as her craniofacial difference. Welcome, Stephanie. It is a pleasure to have you.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you for joining us and sharing your time with us.
Of course.
Would you start off by telling us a little bit more about yourself? I know I said like a little bit.
Sure. So I grew up in Northern Virginia outside of DC. I was born with a cleft lip and a cleft palate. And I've been really a big part of my story is that I've been really, really lucky with the surgeries, the surgeons, and the like medical care that I've had available to me. And so in more recent years, it's been like a really strong passion of mine to get kind of back involved or to start getting involved with the craniofacial community and just really advocating and also fighting for medical rights for everyone to have the same chances that I did and not have it just because of like the insurance that your parents are able to put you on or the money that your parents might have. I just think it's really important that anyone born with a craniofacial difference has access to that guaranteed.
Right. I totally agree with you. It's highly important.
Yeah.
My other question for you is, at first glance at your social media page, one would assume that you are like a fitness expert or a model. Why don't you tell us a little bit more about what you do for a living? Because I see your page, I'm like, this girl, she knows what she's doing. She look good.
Thank you. Well, I I've always worked in fashion, so I definitely I say that I'm good at my job because I like my money where I can see it hanging in my closet. So I am a shopaholic, and I worked in retail from the time I was 15. And I did a program in New York the summer before my senior year, working for Rebecca Minkoff, interning for Rebecca Minkoff, actually out of an apartment. And ever since then, I just knew, like, after graduation from college, that I was going to move to New York and that I was meant to work in fashion. But along the way, I I did struggle with my weight for sure at a younger age. I looked like a woman in the fifth grade. So it was just something that I always had to deal with. And I finally like fell into the right routine after a lot of failed attempts and lost like I say 40 to 50 pounds because when you start building muscle, your body changes. And now in recent years, like I don't weigh myself because I don't feel like I need to. I fit in my clothes just fine. I don't want to be harping on a number, but I really transformed my body. And so I first got on TikTok because I wanted to bring about cleft awareness. One of my girlfriends in Canada, she got on like just she had been like really hitting the pavement in Instagram, and she had unfortunately her platform is so amazing, but she had joined when there was no longer the organic reach. And then she got on TikTok when it first came out, and she hit 5 million views in one of her first videos. And she called me and was like, you have to put your cleft awareness on TikTok. So I I was like nervous about it at the time. I'm 35 now, but I was 34, and I was like, you know, are people going to think I'm so weird? This is supposed to be kids dancing. And then I was like, you know what, maybe that's the challenge for me to get over myself, get over what other people think, like, and just really go for it. And I started posting, but the app works where it has to be a topic that previously exists on the app for it to catch, right? So I was working with this guy who had worked for Gary Vee. He has one of the top YouTube coaching channels for social media platforms. And he was like, I totally don't want to offend you, but if you need to niche down on something outside of Clef, because the TikTok platform won't recognize the topic. It's not on there. And I was like, okay, no problem. So that's when I went hard on my fitness stuff and used that as like a bait and switch to get Clef on the app. And now it's a really big topic, which is amazing. When I first was posting, there was like 4,000 views per hashtag. Now there are millions on some of our some of the Clef hashtags, which is phenomenal. But essentially, I had a video that I knew would go viral that was like more beauty oriented. I didn't know how viral it would go, but it got over 23 million views. And as soon as it started going viral, I posted 4 back-to-back Clef videos. So I like played the game, and those all got hundreds of thousands of views and tons of comments. But like that has really what put me on the map for, you know, being this Clef advocate. And it just also, people were connecting in the comments, like exchanging doctor information. So that was really powerful and awesome. And yeah, so that's kind of how I mean, I'm passionate about health, fitness, beauty, all those things. So you're not wrong, but I'm using that also, that passion as leverage to get, you know, to bring about awareness for the Clef community.
Right. And I could totally relate to you because I've been told like many times, like, oh, Leah, you should start a YouTube channel, TikTok, just, you know, tell your story and your journey. And I'm like, oh, you know, I wasn't too comfortable, you know, about it then, but now, like, you know, I'm so ready for it. So like looking at like your TikTok and like your Instagram, like seeing how confident and like you are, you know, it's kind of making me want to, you know, start my own YouTube channel and all this stuff.
Awesome. You should. I would say the one thing, like and I would say that my friends without facial differences, like they get so hung up on the comments. I would have been rocked by that in my younger years. And I was, when people would just say things in person. But now, like, I didn't join until I was like, oh, every bad or mean comment, it pushes my page out more. It gets seen by more people. Like, thanks, I will comment back to everything. Thanks for stopping by. Like, and so I've never had I'm in a place, like you said, confidence. I'm in a place where absolutely no mean comment has put one wrinkle in my face, made me shed a tear, anything like that. And if you can be like around that place, then I think anyone should do it, because then it's like a super positive experience. But of course, like that exists on the app for sure. So you have to be ready for it.
Right, most definitely, because you know the internet is a scary and dangerous place to be. You know, it can have all sorts of people. But like you said, I mentioned before, like I had an interview with Miss 𝐀𝐚𝐥𝐿. She's an outreach director, and I mentioned to her that whenever like I receive hate comments before, it just motivates me because I don't really read them or whatever, but like it just builds me the person I am today. So like it doesn't even affect me. So I totally, you know.
It's a bigger reflection on them. Some of my most viral videos, some of the reason why Clef is on the TikTok app is because I clipped those comments and I answered back at them. So that's what people love. Like, you know, I don't know if this is even appropriate to say, but like I had someone that was, their platform was a suicide prevention account, and they had the nerve to make a comment about how they wouldn't trust me because of the way my mouth looked. And I clipped that comment so quickly and was like, is this what this is about? You know, like, but it's super motivating because it's more of a reflection on those people than it is on you.
You're only helping me, so thank you.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I say normally, thanks for stopping by.
Right. My next question is for you is, I noticed that you mentioned like, saying like years before you started like social media and everything, that and like I guess your childhood, like you wasn't like too confident, you know, in yourself. So I wanted to see, did it like I don't know if it affected you, like your cleft lip, like did it ever affected you emotionally and physically?
Yeah, definitely. So the last surgery that I had was outpatient. It was purely cosmetic in the 8th grade, and it completely changed my look. Like it changed my life. It was a really harsh laser on my scars, and then it was a VY split on my upper lip to even out my lip because in like the symmetry is what really lacks, right? And my doctor was really upfront with me that it was going to get worse before it would get better. But he was like, now's the time. I was at a really small school with 13 kids in my class. And he was like, do it now before high school, before college. And he was right. Like I had to wear a band-aid for, I think it was 3 months on my scars for this to heal. But it really, once it was healed, really boosted my confidence. I think that it did always affect me for sure. It was something that it's like a gut punch when someone says what happened to your lip. Like people just don't really realize the power or the weight in the way in which they ask questions. Like I always say now that it's okay to ask questions, but you should really think about the way in which you do that and how you would want to be on the receiving end of that. So I think that's like a big part of my messaging because, you know, to someone that's like a passing comment and it could not be even something that they really noticed until they knew you for X amount or caught you at some angle or something like that, but it sits with you. So yeah, I would come home crying and I would be bullied and stuff like that. But I think that, it became, I believe it or not, so even though it affected me more as a kid, I think I've gotten more ridiculous comments as an adult, which is really insane. But you know, I think the biggest thing and the reason why I'm so like loud about it now is because it seems like a really isolating journey. Like I went to coffee with a guy this week and he has a cleft lip too. And he was like, he's 27 and he was like, you were my first person that I'm meeting with a cleft lip and a cleft palate. And how is it? It's so crazy. Like, you know, that this thing that a lot of people have, it's been this like isolating solo journey because you're so nervous to talk about it. You don't want people to notice it, but it should be this bonding thing where there can be this community that comes together. And the whole time we were at coffee, he's like, no one else would understand this. Like I couldn't have this conversation with anyone else. They wouldn't get it. And there's so much power in that, like having someone that relates to those things. And so I think that like if my child in the future like were to have something in this realm, you know, I would really try to like bring them together with similar kids so that they could share that journey together. Because for me, it felt so solo. And so my parents weren't even aware of like some things that were in my head, or sometimes I wouldn't tell them every time I would be bullied because I was embarrassed. So I think it's really important now for anyone of any age to like really be like bring a sense of community. But they have to reach you. So that's the part that I am really, you know, there's the good and the bad with social media. And that's the part that I'm really happy about because now like people are able to connect on my page.
Right. I totally agree with you. Because I remember, you know, when I was like, you know, in like school or whatever, bullies, hate comment all the time, but I never like saw myself in a different way. I
Mhm.
always saw myself normal because thanks to my parents, they always saw me as normal. They treated me as
Yeah,
like, normal. So like I'm like, talking to these kids and everything, like, hey. And like, you know, lemon to your face, lemon this. The way they say it. And I'm like,
yeah.
yeah,
It's when it's when someone says it with like a negative implication. It's
right,
fine, like again, like it's like I I am, and I said I'm shocked that adults say things to me because I'm like, if someone said this to your child, how would you feel? But yeah, I mean, I get the sense that like you might have been even more confident than me as a kid with it growing up. It just used to like really,
yeah,
I would just crumble.
yeah,
But I didn't share that with anyone because I felt so like isolated in that I didn't want to bring any more attention to it, you know?
right. Yeah, I would say like I was a strong person, but like as soon as I get home, that's where
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
where
yeah,
the crying and all that stuff. But like I totally I see your point of view and everything. Like that's why I love how CCA is building a amazing, beautiful community just for
yeah,
any type of facial difference, which
totally.
uh so amazing. And like you said you went out to coffee with one of your with a person who had a cleft lip. Um, I actually went out the other day with a person who actually had Golden Heart Syndrome, which I had, and it was like the amazing feeling ever to finally relate to somebody and to like
Yeah,
understand each other's struggles and all these stuff we went through. It's such an amazing feeling, and to like bond over that, it's amazing. That's all I love to say.
yeah.
Um, enough about me. Anyways, um, how did you become such a positive influence with your cleft lip? I know you said like I don't know if the haters motivated you, but like, I don't know.
I think so. Ironically, I did my first like photo shoot for fun the week, like 2 days before I went into quarantine. So like March 2020, very beginning, I was supposed to go to Miami with a bunch of my girlfriends for my birthday, and the trip got canceled, and we didn't know what was going on. And my personal trainer was like, you have worked your butt off. Like, I'm booking this photo shoot. You need to see yourself for something different.
Right.
And for like what you've become. And so I did this photo shoot. I was scared out of my mind, and I did this photo shoot. And then I was like, you know what? Like then I started hashtagging like cleft lip, cleft strong,
Right.
cleft awareness. And that the irony of it was that at a time when we had to wear masks and I could cover my scars or anything, like I wanted to talk about it finally.
Right.
And then I got really lucky because one of my girlfriends works in beauty PR, and she got an email from someone that was writing an article for Sunday Riley about people with facial differences and how different aesthetics like fillers or lasers or things like that had helped them with their confidence or improve like the deformity or the difference. And so she forwarded it to me, and I answered and was like, I'm so game to be in this article. And then ironically, the girl that was writing the article had a cleft palate. So I just couldn't have like had a better person write my story. I answered questions, but to have someone that kind of understood the journey write the article is so phenomenal. And then got such a great reaction to it that I was like, there's something here. Like I need to. And I think the other thing is like, yeah, I've worked, you know, my butt off in the fashion industry and I love it. But, later in life, like what legacy am I going to leave on? And I think that like when you're talking about these things, like these things impact families, they impact kids, they impact like our community, our world. And like, if you can make waves that way, like that's leaving a legacy and that's leaving something far beyond, you know, a corporate role. So that's, I think, what pushed me more too.
Right. I totally relate to you because I remember, I was a freshman year in college, trying to figure out what I want to do. I know I wanted to be in the medical field or whatever, but like I was still like trying to like what is my purpose? Like what I want to do.
Right.
And then it finally hit me when I like, you know, let me tell my journey. Let me tell my side of my story. Like, So I think, doing this with CCA, being an intern, being public speaking about my journey, my story, like you said, it impacts so many families, children, teens, affects the world. And it teaches people that don't understand or never seen like different types of syndromes about the syndrome like you're going through. So
Yeah.
I'm so like happy that you're like an advocate for Class 11 palette. Like you're doing an amazing job. Like just keep doing what you do. I just love it.
Thank you so much.
My next question for you is, so you're marketing a lot of clothes. So like I would say like what is your like clothing like you like promote? Like I saw that you do alo. Is that alo?
Yeah. So I also will say that I am in a good position right now with my TikTok from the perspective that, I mean, I've been reached out to by so many brands, but a lot of them didn't align with like the things that I believe about, like the ingredient. And so health and wellness is a huge thing. And not only is, so in our community, like the thing that bothers me is the medical things that not everyone has available and that are available in places like Canada or Europe. For instance, when I get contacted from cleft lip and palate patients in Canada or Europe, I'm like, I can't see anything. Like your surgery was so amazing. And it's because they have so much more medical advances. Well, not just advances, but it's readily available for everyone. So basically I've been reached out to by so many brands, but because of their ingredients and things like that, if there were food, powder, things, or I've been reached out to by different brands where they want me to say that they were a part of my journey and my change. And that's not true. So this isn't my bread and butter. I don't use TikTok to like put food on the table. So I've been really lucky where I've just like held strong, just kept to my platform and been like, eventually these brands will start to line up that are more in line. So that is the kind of the change that's starting to happen now. So I am in an affiliate program for aloe. I posted something this week. I got picked for a Fenty collab with Mischief for a lip gloss thing, which was really cool. And then I have something for Good American. And just with all of like, those are brands that inclusivity is on the front line, and so that is what is really important to me. So some of those brands that are either for, health, happiness, inclusivity, that kind of stuff, like that's who I'm looking to team up with. So hopefully we'll be seeing some more things coming up soon.
Yes, I'm so excited to see. Most definitely. Because I understand like how like the fashion industry is like it's like kind of tricky and tough to fit in because they want everything their way, and if they don't want it, yeah. So I think for standing your own ground and choosing what's right. My last question for you is: do you have any advice that you wish your younger self would have received?
Yeah, I definitely wish that was told that this was like a superpower and that like this was a positive thing and that like that was the mindset that I have now that I could have embraced at a younger age. And I wish that like now it's great. Like so many mental health is like on a daily topic, you know? So it's amazing. And that's like for the future, that will be so much better. But I wish that that was addressed more at a younger age for me. And I just think that the other thing is like I truly believe that, you know, maybe that makes me a little bit of a Disney princess, but I do think there's a solution to everything. So like even with like when people ask me about confidence, like I just think you have to write down the things that you don't like, that you, and like what can you do to change something so that you, if you do, you are going to receive a comment like that, it just washes off you like water, you know? And so actually a lot of part of my journey was like, what do I not like about, like, what, you know, am I too defensive? And so I did a lot of internal work so that like when I get those comments, I'm like, I feel great about myself and I know I'm a good person. So like, no problem. Um, so I think, you know, I wish it had been a little bit more addressed to me as a kid. I knew that I was being protected, you know, but it is something that you live with. So you should be you should be celebrated. And that's what I really hope that like by having conversations like this and getting this on YouTube and you having, you know, great outreach, that like this conversation is going to be more on the forefront. Like I want to see more kids like you, like in campaigns. Like I want to see people represented and I want to see that conversation like, you know, like I don't want kids that grew up like us, like turning on their TV and not feeling like they align with anyone. And I want them to see that like people can become famous, can make money, can be beautiful. You know, I want people like us to be in a beauty campaign, to have the word beautiful next to that. So, you know, that's really, really important to me. And that like gives me some extra drive.
Right. I totally agree with you. Like, seeing you're like the Barbie doll for like anything. Like you're representing us right now, and I thank you for that. Like it's just amazing. Like totally agree with you because kids these days, you know, dealing with like you know a facial difference is very, very, very hard for them. You know,
Yeah.
because you know you don't understand the struggles like we go through, like you know, in childhood and everything. It's just you know bring awareness to that now is such amazing. So again, I know I'm saying thank you so much.
No, no, but I mean, I'm like, thank you for doing this. Like you have like an amazing energy and like, I know that you're going to go places because you can just see like you are headed for something, which is so awesome.
So yes. But thank you so much, Stephanie, for joining us and chatting with me. It was such a pleasure. I really enjoyed it.
Thanks for having me.
Of course. And if our audience wants to learn more about you, where can they follow you?
On both Instagram and TikTok, I am Steph Heintz. It's 1H. I don't know if you can like link it in the YouTube. Okay, cool. So you can follow me on both and reach me there.
You heard it, y'all. And before we go, I want to shout out my boss, 𝐀𝐚𝐥𝐸, who is the outreach director for CCA, for putting this amazing outreach series all together and having me as a host. You know I appreciate you so, so much. But again, Stephanie, we appreciate you sharing your time with us, and I look forward to chatting with you again in the future. Thank you.
Thank you.